Hi guys, it's me. Real quick, before we hop into the podcast, I just want to let you know I have a new comedy special called Sorry Dad coming out on December 12th. So keep an eye on my YouTube, and it will also be available on OnlyFans TV with no interruptions, no commercials. Enjoy the podcast. You guys, hello. Welcome to Talkin Schmitt. My name is Brittany. I am your host. I am so excited to be here. This is our very first episode. What is going on? Welcome to hell. It's me, Satan. I saved you a seat. I hopped out of your nightmares and into your fucking screens. So here I am. I'm launching a new podcast and I'm so excited about it. I think this is going to be a lot different than the last project I did. Obviously, it's just me and Biggie Smalls the dog. And so it's going to be different. It's going to be a different format. It's going to be a different vibe. We're going to talk more about health and wellness, and we're going to have a confession corner for you guys to write in and tell me anything you guys want to talk about. And we are going to keep Bad Vice going. This is just the intro episode. So I'm going to get you guys caught up on my life and my summer and what the fuck's been going on with me. And just know I missed you so much. But also I had a really nice time not talking, not yapping for a whole summer. It was so peaceful and chill and serene, and I really liked it. So, this party is going to be a little smaller, a little more intimate probably than the last party we were all at together. But I'm excited. I'm excited if you're here. I'm excited that I'm here. I'm excited that Biggie Smalls the dog is here. It's all very exciting. And before I launch into the podcast, I just want to let you know I am on the road. I have a show in Denver on December 8th. So if you're in Denver this week, I think by the time this comes out, it'll be this week. Please come see me. I'm at the Denver Improv. You can look at my show links on BrittanySchmitt.com for all of my stand-up shows. I've been having so much fun doing stand-up, you guys. I am in the middle of writing a whole new set, and I just filmed a set. You guys, I have so much to tell you. It's so exciting. Okay, so I have a show in Denver, 12/8. That's my last show this year, one and only. And then if you look towards next year, I've got a bunch coming up. I've got Austin, I've got Raleigh, I'm going to Europe, I'm doing a London show. I'm going to be all over the place. So check BrittanySchmitt.com, BrittanySchmitt, no D. I took all of those in college. So come to a show, come say what's up. I would love to see you. And on that note, we're going to get into it. Let's get into the most asked question. Listen, you guys, I've vacillated. I've gone back and forth over and over and over again on whether or not I want to talk about this. Highline, top note, I really don't. But since so many of you asked, hundreds of DMs, there's a lot of questions about what happened? What happened with everything? What happened? And I can confirm, I will confirm that the friendship is over. But what I'm going to say is listen, I know you guys want the tea. You're like, it's piping, it's scalding. And trust me, if I gave it to you, you'd all have third-degree burns. But I live and die by the fact that when you talk about someone else, it says more about you than it does about them. It's kind of the same way. I used to work in HR. I recruited people full-time for a living, and I worked for a really big company. And, there's rules about recruiting and interviewing and all that stuff. And one of the main rules is if they're talking mad, nasty shit about a place they used to work at, they're gonna do that same thing to you. And it's also just, I think it says more about them and their inability to cope with life and its challenges and how people and jobs and nothing is ever perfect. So I've done a lot of work on myself, and I can take the punches as they come. And I know there's been some sneak disses online and on Snapchat, she can't get off Snapchat. Oh my God. But I'm going to rise above it. There's a few things that I'm going to talk about separately that I want you guys to know about. I really value being an honest person, and there's just some stuff in my life that's been going on where, some people think okay, I'm just going to get into it. I'm just going to say it. I have been in my life sober for big chunks of time. I have had full sobriety, and to me, full sobriety is, you know, no alcohol, no hard drugs, no soft drugs, no fun drugs, no drugs, period. And I've gone back and forth a lot. I had 3 full years of sobriety, and then I, you know, did mushrooms and I smoked a little pot, and then I had another 3 full years of sobriety, and then I did mushrooms and I smoked a little pot, and then I started over again. So listen, I'm a little bit of a back and forth girly. I'm not a one size fits all person. So if you're looking to me for perfect sobriety, please don't. That's not me. That's not how I'm practicing. That's not what I'm doing. And you know, I'm going to tell you guys some stories about this summer and what happened and what went down. And I'm just going to be honest, and I'm going to tell you, I did some fucking mushrooms. So I don't want anyone to fucking be like, oh, I thought you were sober. And like, listen, I don't think sobriety is a one size fits all thing. I think AA was so important to me in the beginning of my sobriety, and I might go back to it. I have no idea. I think all we do is get on these microphones and we contradict ourselves and we say things that we really genuinely mean in the moment. And then we change our minds because we're people. And that's the only thing that stays the same as change. That's the only constant that there is in life. And I will say, in my experience, since I got medicated for depression, which if you guys were not with me on that journey, I was severely, severely depressed. I was diagnosed with moderate severe depression. And once I got medicated for that and I got on Lexapro, my highs and lows within my personal sobriety, the edges on everything just kind of softened. Nothing felt as serious or as severe or as high or as low. The medicine did work. So my experience this year so far in my sobriety has been that. And listen, for me, drinking is the thing that I can't do. If I start drinking again, we're all in trouble. Call the cops, call your therapist, call my mom, because I'm coming to find her. I'll be in hell. I'm going to die if I start really drinking again. But I know that my sobriety has been talked about, so I'm just going to talk about it too. I don't think anyone has the right to talk about somebody else's sobriety. I think that's fucking crazy. But, you know, listen, if you want to fight that way, you can. All I can do is be honest with you on my journey. I am not in a position where I'm struggling right now, but I'm also not in a position where I'm fully sober. So if you're trying to quit drinking, I am happy to help you guys. I'm happy to give you advice on what I did. All I can do is share my experience, strength, and hope, and pray that it helps you in some way. But just know that, like, I don't want to disrespect anybody ever who is fully sober by saying, like, you know, I'm sober and I can help you. And like, I don't know what I can do. All I can do is sit here and be honest and yap a little bit and hopefully get like 1 hour of your week, make it slightly better. Or I annoy you so much that you turn it off and then you get a whole hour of your week back. And that's pretty good too. So, listen, you guys, I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. I'm happy to have a space where I can be open and honest about it. And if it changes again, I will be open and honest about that. If I decide that I need to go back to the program, we can talk, we'll talk about that. We'll talk through everything. Like, life is constantly changing. I'm constantly changing. I have no idea who I'll be next week. I don't know who I'll be in 5 minutes. I don't even remember who I was yesterday. So this is who I am today. And I am enjoying myself. So with that said, I have so much shit to catch you guys up on. Like, so much life shit happened to me this summer. It was really unbelievable. And I think it was it was a balance of the best and worst summer I've ever had in my life. So I guess at an average, it was just like a very mid-summer, but super highs, super lows. And I want to start with a high and some good news, which is that I have a boyfriend. I found one. I trapped one. I got him. I got a little butterfly net and I fucking caught him. No, I didn't mean to. Honestly, this was such a happy accident, such a mistake. Not a mistake. I'm like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Somebody help me. I blinked twice if you're being held hostage. Get me out of here. No, not a mistake in that way. Like, I truly didn't mean for this to happen. I got off of Hinge because I was having the worst luck. Actually, I don't think it was that bad. I just think I was finding guys that were saying they wanted relationships and they weren't wanting relationships, and that's fine. You know, I think a lot of people do that to get laid, and that's, you know, that's fine. What could a woman do to get laid that's a lie? Well, I guess we wear push-up bras, and we wear push-up bras, and this fake hair on my head right now, the 400 fake hairs on my head. You guys know me. You know I have 4 hairs on my head. I'm wearing fake hair. But I by the way, I love this weave. No shade. Thank you, Svetlana in Sweden, or whoever's hair this is. But I actually did find a product to help me grow my motherfucking hair back after that op-ass bitch put those extensions in my hair that tore all my hair out. Yeah, I did finally find a product. It's called Berber Hair Oil. They are one of our sponsors for the show, so I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to gush on them later. But back to my motherfucking man. Okay, so I went out to the Hamptons for Rena's 40th birthday, and we had a great weekend. The last podcast I was doing had just ended, and so I had some time. So I was like, I'm going to spend a week in New York and do some shows. And so I did that, and like I said, I took Hinge off my phone because I was just getting fucked around. And I think like the Frenchie, the last guy I was talking about, the fucking 6'4" mixed race French model who was just beautiful and completely uninterested in me. I really feel like he was the final test from the universe because physically he was a specimen, and mentally, emotionally, the most unavailable and closed off person I've ever met in my life, which usually for me, when I see those types of red flags, I'm like, Olay, I am a bull. I am running towards that. And I did for a little bit. And then I just finally, like, he was trying to meet up again after we had like a weird fight thing. And I finally was like, you know what? I think we're just ultimately looking for different things. Like the first night I met him, he was like, I do not want to date you. I want to have sex with multiple women, but I want you to be my main one. And I was like, that sounds great for just you. For you and only you. That sounds really great. But I went along with it because he's French and he has this little accent and he's got that. Like he had abs up to his fucking teeth. Like he was a beautiful person. And hold on, pause for Diet Coke. But I really feel like he was the final boss. Like I do believe that the universe tests you with people, places, and things to see if you've learned the lessons that you need to learn. And I think that's why sometimes in everything, in relationships and friendships and mentorships and jobs and careers, you will get similar situations that test you in the same way until you learn the lesson. And I think for me, finally saying, you know what, I think we want different things, but this has been so fun getting to know you. And he just hearted the message and we never talked again. I think that was my test from the universe. And I felt really good about it. It was like, 6-ish weeks since I had gotten laid. I went to New York. I was like, I'm going to download Hinge again. And my full intention, my 100% full intention was to have a one-night stand. That's all I wanted to do. I dropped my age parameters on Hinge down to 25. They were at 35 because I was trying to intentionally date. And I remember on the old podcast, we had a woman on who like tore my profile apart. She was just like, no, you're being too funny and this isn't real and no one's ever going to get to know you. And I was like, ew, bitch. Like the person that I want to attract will like my short, funny prompts. They will not mind that it says typical Sunday. What are you doing? And I say contemplating the sweet release of death. My person will understand that. And so I dropped my age down and I pretty quickly met with this guy who is 27 and he was really funny. And his prompts were very similar to mine. They were short and sweet and I liked it. I could tell he was funny and I couldn't tell much else. So the rest was a mystery and I liked that. Like one of his prompts was, I'm weirdly attracted to ... the clinically insane. I was like, sign me up, bitch. I will wear my straight jacket to dinner. Like I liked it. And then he is like, I'm weirdly afraid of, I think it was like small talk in elevators. And I was like, oh, I hate small talk too. This is perfect. And he's handsome and he's tall and he's funny. And we started bantering and it was really cute. And I was in New York after the Hamptons. I was in New York with a girlfriend and she had gotten us tickets to this Broadway show, and I don't really do Broadway, but I was like, whatever, we're in New York, we're going to do it. And then this guy was like, I have really bad news. The only time that I can see you is tonight for like an early dinner at 7 because I'm going to the Hamptons. And I was like, oh, don't do this to me. You know, it was like one of those things like, don't ruin my fucking day with your bad news and your Hamptons plans. By the way, I was just in the Hamptons. I don't really like them that much. I just felt like I was in a backyard with a pool, which by the way, you can find those anywhere. And granted, maybe I wasn't on the most expensive property with a waterfront view, but the food was bad and everyone's so entitled and I just don't really get what the fuck's going on in the Hamptons. But maybe I'll go back and I'll get it. But this time I didn't really get it. Also, I think it was tough for me because it was a 40th birthday party and everyone was kind of like in party mode. And, you know, I wasn't. I had brought some mushroom chocolates with me just in case I wanted to vibe. And I didn't find the right time to do it. So I didn't. But anyway, he was like, I'm going to the Hamptons. We can do an early dinner. I have to leave the city at 9 p.m. And I was like, okay, nice. I love a nice early dinner. And, you know, I was like, does this have something to do with our age gap? Because I'm 9 years older than you and you want to take me to like a grandma special, early bird special? The fucking, I don't know, we're even kind of good an early bird special. Not New York. I don't think they exist in New York. But anyway, long story long as fuck. I canceled the Broadway show. There was just something. Okay, first of all, I want to say 2 things that I forgot to say. When I was going back into the city from the Hamptons, I got what I can only truly describe as a download from the universe to download Hinge. And I was like, in my mind, my rational mind was like, why the fuck why would I do that? I can go out to a bar and meet a guy. I don't need to, well, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I can go out in the wild and find a man. I don't need to, but there was just a really strong feeling to download it. And I'm like, every single time I've been on this app in the last 6 months, it has taken me to the pits of hell and spit me back out. So I don't really know why I would do this, but I downloaded it. Like I said, I lowered the age. We get on there. And I just, again, the banter was so good. One of the funniest people I've ever met. And I just got so lucky. Like he's so fucking cool. But then he was like, I'm not going to be here. And I was like, by the time he got back, I was going to be gone. It was this whole thing. So I canceled this show. I go to dinner with him and I get there and I'm excited. Like we had been having great conversation. I put on like a cute little Skims dress and I had my Jack Nicholson cocaine glasses on. And, I get there and he's speaking frantically with the host. And I'm like, hey, you know, what's up? And he's just like, hang on, give me a second. Frantically with the host. And I'm just catching like little words here and there. He's like, no, I don't want to sit with him. Sit him across the restaurant. Sit him in the other corner. I don't want to see him. I don't want to make eye contact with him. And I was like, what are we getting ourselves into here? Like what sort of arch nemesis is about to show up at this dinner? And, then 2 seconds later, he rolls his eyes and he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, Brittany, this is my dad. This is my dad and his wife. And I was like, oh, hi. And like, meanwhile, he and I hadn't even said hi yet. He was so busy yelling at the host that I pretty much met his dad at the exact same time I met him. And his dad just, you know, just a sweet dude. Kind of like a tough Brooklyn dude. And we go and we sit down and it's so funny because his energy was just off. And I'm trying to figure out, do I want to tell you his name? I don't want to tell you his name because I don't want people looking him up. And that's not like it's just more like for his own privacy. He's a more private person. I want to call him Mr. Manhattan, but I can't, can I? Okay, I'm calling him Mr. Manhattan. I don't care. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it'll change along the way. I'm so excited to tell you guys about the sponsors for Talkin Schmitt. I went after, it sounds like I hunted them. Oh God, I burped. That was Diet Coke. That burp was sponsored by Diet Coke. This podcast is not. No, I went after, and it does sound like I hunted them, and I kind of did. I went after some sponsors that I really love, and I've been talking about organically, so I just want us all to be on the same page and get a little bit of a discount and enjoy what I've been enjoying. So our first sponsor is called A Life on the Lamb, and they are bone broth and Ayurvedic. Ayurvedic? Is that how you say it? I don't know. But it's bone broth goodness. And I have been using their bone marrow face fat every single night before I go to bed. It is a dream. Do you smell a little bit like dog chow? Yes, you do. But I'm telling you, I get more compliments on my skin now than I ever have in my entire life. And it's because every single night I'm using the fat face on my face. They also have a body drench oil that it's not too oily. It soaks in and it's filled with vitamins and it makes your skin feel delicious and edible. And it doesn't smell. The other products of theirs that I love. So they have a buffalo bone broth that is one of the most delicious bone broths I've ever had. And for me personally, I love to do a bone broth midday when I want a little something in my stomach, like a little salty snack. It's not a snack because it is just liquid, but it's filling and it's nourishing and it makes you feel good and it gives you nutrients and vitamins and fills you up with all the good stuff. They also have bone jelly. So bone jelly is a little thicker, but it does have 20 grams of protein per cup, which is crazy. So I don't know if you're like me and you're a protein girly and you're trying to like squeeze in all your macros and get all your protein in so that you can stay strong and fit. But if you are, even if you're not, just 1 cup of bone jelly a day is great, does wonders for your protein intake. It's great for collagen. It's great for hormone balance. It's great for gut health. It is just great. So I want you guys to go check them out. They have the Brittany bundle on their site, which is the face fat, the bone jelly, and the buffalo bone broth. And if you use the code BRITLOVES10, it's BRITTLUVS 10, you will get 10% off your first order. And I want you to go do it because it will make your life better. So go to A Life on the Lamb. That's ALIFE on ONTHELAM.com. Use the code BRITLOVES10 for 10% off your first order and thank me later. We meet, we sit for dinner, but his energy is like, I could feel him right away. Like I've never really locked into a person energetically. I can usually tell how people are feeling. I can read energy pretty well. I'm not, it's not my first day on earth, but like I could feel him. Like I could feel he was tense and he was uncomfortable and I think maybe a little embarrassed. And it was just like, it was kind of a strange energy because we had been having such great chats like on Hinge and on text and everything. So I just felt the energy shift and, he had a few drinks trying to like loosen up, but then his dad kept walking over to the table to talk to us, which I thought was so funny, but he was really uncomfortable. But his dad comes over and he's like, oh, the salmon is fantastic tonight. You guys got to try this. It's so good. And he's like, Dad, please leave us alone. And then his dad walks away and then his dad comes back and he's like, so how'd you two meet? And I'm waiting for him to answer because this isn't my dad. I don't know this man. I don't know this family. I don't know how good of a sense of humor they have, and he's like, how did you guys meet? I wanted to be like an abortion clinic. That's how we met, but he just was like, we met on the internet. And I was like, yeah, we met on Hinge. And then, it was just funny. It was just funny and weird, but his energy was off. And, I had these mushroom chocolates in my purse and I had never taken them before. I had a sponsor called Happy Caps that had sent me a bunch of stuff. And like I said, I hadn't taken mushrooms since January, but I brought them to New York just in case I wanted to do them in the Hamptons. And so after dinner, I was just like, I can feel you're a little rocked by the fact I just met your whole family on the first date. But I was like, I have these mushroom chocolates. Do you want to do those? And he's like, yeah, sure. That'd be cool. And I didn't know the dosing on them. I'd never taken them before. And I was like, 1 is fun, 2 is woo. I don't know. What are the rules here? And so I gave him 2 chocolates and I then myself also took 2. And I mean, they hit us so fast and so hard. I felt like I got hit by a freight train, like his knees started wobbling. And we got in a car and we went to Chez Margot, which is like this members club in the city, but we couldn't be around people. Like we should not have been allowed in the wild. So we went to a back room that was really dark. And then our server came up to us and he looked like the crypt keeper. He looked like he died 2 days ago. And he was like trying to peddle us his jewelry. It was a very strange experience. He spilled an espresso martini on his white linen pants. I mean, the whole night was a fucking mess, but it was fun and it was easy and he was easy to be around. And I just liked him. It was fun and cool and easy from the start. And we ended up going back to his place and he lives with his brother. So I met his dad, his stepmom, and his brother all in the first night. I was like, I'm pretty much in the family already. And yeah, we went back to his place and we hooked up. So I drugged and took advantage of a younger man. And that is women in men's fields. That's women in men's fields right there. No, we had a great night. It was very sexy, very cool, very fun. But I still was like pretty much under the impression I was not going to see him again. Even when his brother, he forgot my name and he asked me the name again, I was like, don't worry, I'm just blowing through. Like, you're not going to see me again. And, we had a really nice night and I broke my rule. I usually do not spend the night at guys' houses. Not even just on the first date. Like, I really don't like to sleep not in the bed that I'm supposed to be sleeping in. I really wanted to go back to the hotel and sleep, but there was just something really nice and really comfortable about him and meeting him, and it was easy, and he's like one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and he's just like really sexy and cool, and yeah, we had a great time. And then the next morning I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And he just texted me right away. I don't even think I got 3 blocks away from his place before he texted me, and he's just been wonderful ever since. Like, the most consistent communicator, the funniest, the kindest, the most thoughtful. Like, he's just fucking great. And he's like, he comes out. Dun, 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 dun. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so it's just, that was amazing. Like, what a gift. And I also think, that was another exchange from the universe energetically, where some things had ended and needed to end. And once I wasn't giving all of my energy to something outside of myself, I was able to attract something that required my energy in a more positive way. And it's been a really interesting relationship. It's different than any relationship I've ever had in my life before. He lives in New York. I live in LA. Maybe that's not forever. And by maybe, I mean definitely. And I do have plans to tell you guys what's happening next, but I'm not going to do that this episode. I can't blow my whole load in the first welcome back episode. But yeah, we really synced up, and he's just really wonderful. And he told me about this theory. Which I really like, and I want to repeat to you guys. This theory is called the red string theory. It is an East Asian belief that an invisible red thread connects two people who are destined to meet regardless of place, time, or circumstance. The string may stretch and tangle, but it will never break, ensuring that if you're meant to be together, you will be together. And I love that. I'm a little woo-woo, and I love that shit. And he sent it to me, and Mike...
And I broke your heart and said it was told to him by his last girlfriend, most likely.
Mike ruined my life. No, I'm just kidding. Mike was like, he definitely heard that from another bitch. And I was like, oh.
He's younger. It might have been TikTok. Who knows?
Yeah. No, it was another bitch. It was definitely another bitch. And I'll fucking get her. I'll find her. I'll hunt her down. Oh my God. Speaking of which, me and Raina did the most unhinged thing ever. And I really want to say it, but I don't know if I should. But I'm going to. Listen, we're girls. We like to know what the exes look like. We like to know what they're up to. We like to make sure they're not within 500 square feet of our man. We treat ex-girlfriends like grade schools treat sexual predators, right? Like, there needs to be an invisible line that nobody can cross to get to our fucking man, especially in the beginning. The beginning of the relationship is where you're like, stay the fuck away from my man. And then you're a few years in and you're like, take him. Somebody take him. No, but me and Raina did something unhinged, and we looked up one of the exes, and then her profile was private, but I needed more information. And I was like, I obviously can't follow her, but Raina can. And Raina is famous. Raina's famous. She has a big following on social media, and she's objectively famous. A lot of people know who she is. And Raina, being the true G she is, she goes and follows, and the girl accepts immediately. We love that. What we didn't realize we had done was that we already had pictures of her and I on her story in his apartment. So we went off the deep end trying to sneaky stalk this hoe, and she probably clocked us so fast. Go ahead, Mike. I see you queuing up. What are you doing? You grab the mic.
I bite my tongue.
No. Oh, so anyway, listen, we're like, I think all girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, all of us were like the Spider-Man meme of like, who can be crazier and not let it show. Like, I'm trying to tuck my crazy in right now, but sometimes it fucking flies out and I can't help it. But yeah, no. And here's the thing. I have a new theory about ex-girlfriends too. Ex-girlfriends, ex-wives, ex-partners, all of it. There's this instinct in us that I don't know what it is. It's hardwired because I can't get rid of it. No matter how much therapy I've done, no matter how much ayahuasca, no matter how much I've talked to God or seen the Lord, I can't get rid of the fact that like when I get into a new relationship, I want to fist fight the exes. I'm like, I want to knock you down and make sure that I don't ever fucking see or hear from you again. But I was thinking about this the other night and I was like, shouldn't we all be talking? Like, shouldn't we all have little mini conferences before we get into a relationship with someone and just be like, hey, what were your speed bumps? What were the red flags that you saw? Because right now my blinders are on and I'm digmatized, but I would like you to tell me what down the road I might be able to expect.
I think there's a whole website that girls made that was all about like putting up like your past dates or past stuff about guys.
Yes. Yeah. So that is to get girls. I forget what it's called. Could you maybe Google that? You don't have a computer in front of you. You have a phone. There is definitely a site where girls like rat guys out for bad behavior so that you don't eventually also date them. But I think this is different. Like, I don't necessarily, listen, I'm already dating him. That's my motherfucking man. That's my boyfriend. I will go to war for him. But I feel like just a powwow would be nice, you know, like, and I'm the perfect example because I was such a vicious cunt to my first husband's ex-wife. I was like, fuck you, fuck this. How could you do that? How could you blah, 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 blah. Like, I just went off on her. And to her email, by the way, to her e-face, I went off on that bitch. But what I should have done is sat down with her and had a coffee and been like, hey, tell me what the struggles were. What really happened? So I could have been a little more prepared.
I think it was the T app.
The T app. That makes sense. Okay. So listen, if you need to warn someone about a man that's acting up, go to the T app and do that. But I think this is a new app that me and Mike are going to create together. Actually, it's not an app. I just need to DM a hoe and be like, hey, baby girl, what the fuck went down here? Because this is the story I got. And you know, every time there's 3 sides to every story, right? There's my side, their side, and the truth. And we all, like, our whole life is just how we interpret it. It's not actually what's happening. That's woo-woo, and that's for another time. But, like, truly, our life is a series of interpretations that are misinterpreted and then repeated until the end of time. So, like, I'm aware that, like, half the things that I think happened to me probably didn't. In that, I'm aware that, you know, when I was a younger comedian and I thought I was the best thing in the room. When I was a brand new comedian, literally I did my first set, 7-minute set. And I went to Marlon Wayans, who I've been friends with since I was 19. And I said, take me on the road, put me in a movie. I'm ready for the big time. I watched that set back and I'm like, girl, you should have taken 12 seats, sat the fuck down, and never honestly probably ever got on stage again. But it's like, I think we have this delusion that we're better than we are in every single situation we're in. And I don't really exactly remember how I got to this thought. I was talking about exes and ex-girlfriends and me being crazy and me and Raina doing a really, really, really horrible sneak op. We did a really bad sneak op. But listen, I got a motherfucking man, and that's pretty exciting. I love when things happen accidentally, like wonderful things happen by accident. Because I was ready. I was really, really, really ready for meaningful partnership, and I had been seeking it out. But I think that's the problem. I think when you're actively seeking something out, it's like, stay away from me, you crazy lady. But now, when I was in New York and I just was like, I'm just gonna fuck a young guy. Which, by the way, I feel like such an old, like, lecherous man when I'm like describing him to people, and I'm like, don't worry, he's got an old soul, like he was raised in Manhattan, so he's like an old 27. But I also think like there is a certain age. No, it really doesn't have to do with age. It has to do with you and your soul and how you mature and all of that. Age is really just a number. My ex-husband was older than me, according to numbers, and that's it. I did a lot of teaching in that household. But he was infinitely better than me in a lot of ways, but not just there's a maturity that comes with age, and it also can come with like living in, I think, New York City. that's I don't know. It's a tough life there. Like I'm there for 5 days and I feel like I'm 12 years older. I'm like, I'm narrowed. Every time I go there, I start vaping, start smoking cigarettes. I'm like, like I can't handle the stress of just like walking out the door. Biggie fucking hates it. Biggie does not like New York. So thank God we're not moving there. You guys, I'm so excited to tell you about this next sponsor. Right now, do I have fake hair? And yes, I do. But for those of you who've followed me or the old podcast or whatever, about the crisis that was my hair loss after extensions in February. I have never felt more low in my life than when I lost all of my hair. And I had 4 hairs on my head, and I looked a little bit like, what's his name? Not Chucky. Who's the little rascal that had like 2, not little rascal, the
Alfalfa.
Thank you. I looked a little bit like Alfalfa. I was devastated when I lost my hair, and I couldn't figure anything out. There was one point I paid $3,000 to get exosome therapy treatment in Beverly Hills, and then I read that it's illegal and it doesn't even work. And I was like, oh no, that's fucking cool. Like, I love that. That's great. But what I did find that has worked wonders, and I will show you guys, not next episode, but one of them soon, how thick and healthy my hair is. It's Berber hair oil, you guys. They are on the cutting edge of hair growth, hair strengthening, hair making it amazing. I really cannot say enough good things about Berber hair oil. You do the derma roller twice a week, oil treatment, leave it in overnight. You do oil on the scalp, massage it, rub it in. You do 1-2 little pumps, put it on the rest of your hair. You brush it with one of their mermaid brushes. You put it back in a tight ponytail and leave it in overnight and let the magic happen. I'm not kidding you, you guys. My hair is healthier and stronger than it's ever been. It's not 100% back still, but it's getting there. And once it gets there, it's going to go past there, because I'm going to keep using this till the end of time, until I have the healthiest, strongest hair in all of the world. And I'm pretty much Rapunzel, and I could throw it out of a window and you guys could all climb up and come say hi. So Berber hair oil is amazing. Go to Berber.com, which is BURBUR.com, and use the code BRITT, BRITT, for 15% off your first order. This is truly a game changer, you guys. I really want you to love it as much as I do. It's never going to leave my life. I also use it on my boyfriend. You can do little hair oil treatments on your man if he's acting right. And then if he's not, you withhold them, and then he doesn't get them, and then he's sad and he knows he was acting up. Okay, you guys, I love you. Go check out Berber.com. It's Berber.com. Code BRITT, BRITT, for 15% off your first order. Go get it. On that note, speaking of my man, sorry, I promise I won't be this annoying. Like, my man. It's like, bitch, shut up. No, listen, it's still early. Everything could go tits up. It won't, but it could. It might. Stay tuned. You will see more. I just want to say never say never. I need to say that. I'm not even saying that to you guys. I'm saying it to me, because I need to remember to never say never, because every single time I say never, I swear it puts an X on your back for the universe to fuck you up and give you that never. Like, when I was younger, my parents had a really, really, really tumultuous, gnarly, acrimonious divorce. It was very, very bad. And Can you guys tell I've been reading the dictionary this summer? Acrimonious, tumultuous. Okay, tumultuous isn't that impressive. Acrimonious, girl. Okay, I'm going to bring back word of the week. Fuck you guys. You didn't like it. I'm bringing it back. We all need to have better vocabulary. It's sexy. It truly is. That's a hill I will die on. But no, my parents' divorce was gnarly. It lasted 7 years. They lost not everything, but fucking close to it. You know, it's like they had a bunch of property. They had all these houses. It was all gone. It was just like me riding around on a sad fucking pony that was about to get repoed. I just didn't want it. It seemed like if that could be what happens after marriage, I didn't want to get married. So I always said, I'll never get married. 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 And then I got fucking married. And then once I got married, I was like, I'll never get divorced. I'll never get divorced. I'll never get divorced. I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm not going to feel like my parents. I'm better than my parents. I'm smarter than my parents. I'm more educated than my parents. I have more money than my parents. I got fucking divorced. Okay. And then when I got divorced, I was like, I'll never date a Gemini. I'll never, ever, ever, ever date a Gemini. That I went on the fucking podcast and said, I'll never do it. Fuck Geminis, fuck Gemini men. They're the scariest people I've ever met. I've always said about Geminis they have two personalities. One of them's an asshole, and that's the nice one. And that is proving to be true. My Gemini boyfriend has about 27 personalities. And listen, you never know which one you're going to get. It always keeps me on my toes. But I will say this. Listen, mama kind of loves an asshole. It's a little hot, right? It's a little hot when someone pushes back. Like, I just can't have someone bending over all the time. There's no challenge. I need a little bit of what he's got. And sometimes he gives me a little too much of what he's got. And then I'm like, reel it back before I start fucking crying. Reel it in a little bit. I'm like, I can go back and forth, and then I'll hit it. And then it's just like, I'm going to cry now. No, I'm going to start crying. No, I love jousting in a relationship. Roasting is my love language. Being mean to people is my love language. Like, if I'm an asshole to you, that finally means I trust you enough to take my jokes and know that they're jokes and that, like, I love you. Me saying, you look like a fucking idiot in that shirt is me saying, like, I love you to the moon and back. I love you so fucking much. Like, I really, really, really love to roast people, and we can go back and forth and we can go tit for tat, and he is fucking funny, but he can get mean, and then I cry. And here's the other thing about being in a new relationship. It's challenged me in a lot of ways. I was single for a long time. I was single for almost 3 years. Wait, no. Yeah. It was 3 years in September, since I had filed for divorce. So it was a long time to be by myself. And here's the thing. Being by yourself makes you really strong, makes you really tough. It makes you really self-reliant. And I think there's so many truly wonderful things about being alone. I love being single. I have always loved being single, even when I was younger and girls were dating boys and they were, everyone was like falling in love. I really didn't mind being alone. And I was single for all intents and purposes until my marriage. And then after my marriage, I was single for all intents and purposes for nearly 3 years. And I love independence. I love not answering to anyone. I love going to bed when I want. I love waking up when I want. I love eating what I want when I want. I love not having a man around asking, am I hungry? Do I need to? Like, I like the freedom of being independent. I would say one of the cons to being single for so long is the only person checking on you is you, and you don't have anyone really to help you regulate your emotions. And so I feel like, you rely a lot on friendships. I think female friendships saved my life in, being single. But I will also say, you almost have like this well built up inside of you of emotion. And like every time your feelings were hurt and nobody was around to care, that's still in there. Every time you dropped a jar of marinara sauce in the kitchen and it exploded glass and marinara sauce everywhere and no one was there to help you and no one was there to even laugh at you or just make the situation a little bit lighter, that's inside of you. Every single time you stubbed your toe and shattered your pinky toe, and you just had to sit there and writhe in pain on the floor by yourself and no one was there, that's inside of you. So what I've found about being in this new relationship is that things can be fine. Things can be great. And he'll ask me like, are you good? Is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. And then he'll ask again. And it's a little bit, and he'll ask again because something maybe is slightly off, something's slightly off. It could be slightly fucking off. Like, I don't know. I wanted just silence to meditate, and I could hear him in the other room where he's supposed to be talking on the phone, and I'm just like, "Arr!" And he's like, is everything okay? And then it's like a kid, when you ask a kid, a kid falls down on the playground and they get up and they're fine, and then you ask them 10 times if they're okay, and then they start sobbing uncontrollably. That's how I feel in this relationship. Like, every time something's slightly off, and he's really good with my energy, he can sense me, he knows if anything's like even a little bit off, I have all of this shit come up, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with you. This is about a guy from January, a guy who ghosted me in January that had a perm, like this is something completely different. So I've been working on managing my emotions and making sure I'm having the appropriate action, the appropriate reaction to things that are happening within our relationship, and not letting like the well of all of my feelings come out, because that's not appropriate. And it's not even his fault. He wasn't even around for that shit. Oh my God. Anyway, this episode is not brought to you by Diet Coke, but it should be. Okay. All that to say, this relationship has been bringing up a lot. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of old stuff. There's a lot of old patterns that are coming forward. And it's like, I sort of get exhausted because I'm like, how fucking long am I going to do this for? Like, how much work do I have to do on myself? How many times do I have to go to therapy? How many times do I have to talk to my sponsor? How many times do I have to do inner child work? How many times do I have to attempt to love myself, to not show up as an insecure fucking maniac in this relationship? And the truth is, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea if there's even a version of myself that can show up in an early relationship where I feel really fucking strong feelings and not be terrified. Because my view of love is chaos. My view of love is also that it always leaves and it's always fleeting, and I'm always afraid for the next shoe to drop. And I spent 3 fucking years working on myself, working on my codependence, working on my sex and love addiction, working on everything that makes me the way I am, that's imperfect. And like, we're all going to be imperfect forever till the end of time, but I want to be as close as I can to peaceful and self-fulfilled and love myself and all that shit that's like so corny to even say out loud. I really want that for myself so that I can show up into a relationship as a peaceful, calm presence. But this relationship has been a little challenging for that, especially because it's long distance. And long distance relationships are insane because you have to trust somebody across like trusting someone that's sitting in your living room is hard. They could be on their phone talking to fucking porn stars. Like you never know what anyone's doing, even if they're right under your nose. The truth of the matter is people are very secretive, and we all have secrets, and we're all a little bit shady, I think. And so for me, the trust has been tough, but it's no fault of his. Like, he has been nothing but somebody, he has shown me nothing but somebody who is a constant, kind communicator, somebody who shows up for me all the time, and he's given me no reason to not trust him. I just have some like deep-seated issues, and they come up, and that's really sucks, because like falling in love is the best thing in the world, and it being tainted with these emotions of, well, what is he doing? Who is he out with? Who is she? I'll fucking kill her. Like, that shit is so exhausting to me. I'm so sick of it. It hasn't gone away. So I don't know if anyone has a cure for that aside from a lobotomy. Let me know. But yeah, it's been a lot of stuff coming up, but also like really fun. Our third date, because we don't live in the same city. Our first date was in New York. Our second like weekend chunk we spent together was in LA. Our third date was in Paris. We just have this really fun, big life. And yeah, I mean, it's still at the beginning phases. We've only been together for 4.5 months, maybe 5 months. I don't know, whatever month. I don't know. We got together in the middle of June, whatever the timing on that is. But yeah, it's been really fun. Doing Paris with someone again has been not to say again, but like, Paris is such a romantic city. And when you go there with one person or one partner, it's hard to not go back and feel haunted by like a relationship that ended, and going back to Paris with him and going to new restaurants and seeing new things. It was just really fun and really fulfilling and really wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to get to what was the most challenging part of my summer, and one of the more challenging things I've ever just experienced ever. So while we're in Paris and while we're gallivanting and while life is feeling really good and wonderful, something simultaneously is going on that feels really bad and dark and scary, and I felt very helpless. So for those of you who listened to my last podcast, you may have heard me talk about Sylvain. Sylvain is a healer and a psychic, and he works with a bunch of celebrities, and I pretty much knocked my way in to see him, even though he has a really long waiting list. He's apparently just this phenom of a person. And I went to go see him, and he said to me 3 times during our session that my dad needed to get his heart checked. And I called my dad and I told him that right away. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing great. I've been playing baseball. I feel healthier than ever. Like, I'm really, really good. And I was like, okay, cool. Could you just go get your heart checked? And I want everyone to know about this heart test. It's called a calcium heart scan, and it will scan for calcium buildup levels in your heart. And in Wisconsin, it's $49 to go get it at Aurora. It's super cheap, and it is the #1 preventer of heart attacks for anyone you love, anyone over a certain age. I don't know what the age is. I think it's like 55 for men, and it's actually lower for women because women are actually at a higher risk of heart attacks than men. I think we think traditionally like they drink and eat more, so they're, the heart's going to give out quicker, but just historically women have more heart issues than men. So women, go get checked. Everyone. I went and got a calcium heart scan after, this story I'm about to tell you. So my dad goes in for his calcium heart. Well, no, he didn't. First of all, my dad didn't. You guys know Charlie. He's so stubborn. He lied to me and he said he went in to get it done. And I was like, can you send me the results? And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I don't have time. I'm doing great. Like, I don't want to do this. And so we were supposed to go on a fishing trip to Canada, and we were going to have to canoe in up the Wawieg River, 18 miles. So I don't know if you just heard that, 18 fucking miles up the Wawieg River. That's not something you can do with a heart that's not perfect. So I told my dad, listen, I'm not going to go on this Canada fishing trip unless you go get your heart checked. And so he's like, oh my God, fine, whatever. And he's like, when they ask why I'm there, I'm going to say it's because my kids are annoying. I'm like, fine, whatever. So he goes, he gets checked. He sends the results off to me and my sister as if he just aced the exam. He's not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what's going on. There was something at the top that's a 98th percentile. And he's like, looks like I'm good. And I was like, yeah, I think you're good. My sister, who's the scientist in the family and the only one with a brain in between her ears, she calls her friend who's a doctor and starts freaking out. She's like, these are horrifying numbers. Basically, if these numbers are north of 300, you are at a high risk for a cardiovascular event. And he had 4 numbers that were north of 1,000. So, the next step was to get stented. They were going to put stents in, which stenting is usually temporary relief for, heart buildup in the main arteries in the heart. When he went in to get stented, I was in Paris. So I'm out here kikiing, la-laing, falling in love, and my dad goes to get stented, and we all kind of thought this is going to be the solution. He'll be better after this. My sister calls me after the procedure and was like, his arteries are too clogged to stent. He needs to get emergency open heart surgery. And everything just went dark. It was like the music that was playing in the background disappeared. The macaroon I was eating tasted like cardboard. The cigarette that I was smoking that felt so sexy 2 seconds ago was asphyxiating. It just was like everything went dark. And, I joke a lot about death. It's something that I quite frankly look forward to. I think it's going to be pretty fucking peaceful. that said, I have never even begun to metabolize the thought of my dad dying. And obviously, I'm not an idiot. I know we're all going to die. I know we're all just on, it's a ticking clock counting backwards for all of us. But my dad has always been just such a strong, macho dude. He's the biggest, toughest guy in every room. He's the funniest, most charming, most wonderful person. And, is he perfect? No, but he's been a perfect father. And he is the person who made me who I am. And to say I love that man feels like it's not even doing it justice. I adore him. He is my hero. And I can't imagine a world without him. And I don't really want to. And in this moment, it was the first time I had to think about it. My sister sent me a diagram so that I could see how clogged it was. And the left ascending ventricle was 99% clogged. And when that gets to 100, he would drop dead. And then he had 3 others. One was over 90%, one was over 80%, and one was over 70% clogged. All main pipes. And I just went numb and I was like, do I need to fly home now? Like, what do I need to do? I had a few more days in Paris and she's like, realistically, they're not going to be able to get us in for a consultation until next week. She's like, fly back to LA, get your shit, come home and just plan on being home indefinitely. And so that threw a wrench in things. And I felt, responsible. Like, that's my dad. Of course I was going to go home. It wasn't even a question of that. I did have to cancel a bunch of shows, reschedule a bunch of shows. I was on tour, I was working, and I had to go home and just take care of my dad. And that was the only thing that mattered. And I've never had an event quite like this before because everything else froze. Time stood still. Everything I was chasing after career-wise, it suddenly just didn't matter. There wasn't even a second thought. Like I was so hyped up about this project I was working on and I just needed to get, I was like, I'm going to get in acting classes and I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this. And I was going to put a bunch of money into a thing that I wanted to shoot and it all just stopped. And I just went home and I was there for my dad. And, my sister did the lion's share of the work before I got there, and I'm so grateful to her for that. She does live an hour away from him, so it's really nice she can go be with him. But yeah, he had to we thought it was going to be quintuple bypass, but once the surgeon got in there, it was quadruple bypass. So he had one fewer artery or whatever they're called. I don't even know to bypass. And for those of you who don't know what bypass surgery is, because I didn't know what it was, they basically take veins out of the leg. And they create new pathways for your heart to flow. So it's like plumbing, like your heart's arteries are like plumbing. And if a pipe is clogged, instead of, clearing that, you can always just create a new pipe to go around, and then the liquid will flow where it flows easiest. And so they did that. And, my sister and I went in. I don't think anyone really understood the gravity. I think my sister might have understood the gravity of what we were about to get into, but I don't think my dad really did. He was, he was making jokes the whole time, and the nurses had to be like, you're going in for a very serious surgery, right? And he couldn't help himself. He was joking through everything, and that's where I get it from. My dad's the person that taught me that the darker things get, the funnier they also get. And, for the first time in my life, I did see my dad scared, not the day of, not on the operating table. He was not scared then, but I think the weeks coming up, preparing for the surgery, in between the consult and when he had to have the surgery, I think he was a bit scared. And that came out in anger. And he's not an angry person. And I can count on one hand how many times I've seen him angry. 3 of those times would be when I was home for the surgery. And, here's the thing. I think I have always thought that anger is just fear in a Jason mask. And I think for the first time in his life, he was also confronted with his own mortality, and that's fucking scary. And all I can do was be patient and be of service and help him however I could. And the surgery was gnarly. It really was, but it was also really well done. And we went to St. Luke's in Milwaukee, and I'm forever grateful for the entire team that took care of my dad and saved his life. When he got out of surgery, he looked fucking rough. He looked rough. I mean, it looked like he died 2 days ago. And he just had tubes coming out of everywhere. He was in so much pain. He's such a tough guy. And, before the surgery, he's like, save the Vicodin. I'm not going to need that. And then when he got out, he's like, he really needed medicine. He was really in a ton of pain. And my heart broke for him. And, he was a little delirious and he was a little out of it. But the second he got the tubes out of his mouth and he could talk, he looked at the nurse, the ICU nurse, and he said, am I going to be able to play guitar? And she said, yeah, like once you heal up, you're going to be able to. And he said, well, that's cool because I couldn't before. And we all just laughed. And I just am like, only him, only he would make a joke, a really, funny joke. It was a dad joke, but it was a funny joke. And right when he got out of surgery, and I just was so, I don't know. It was just a really challenging time for him and, for all of us. And the recovery was not easy. And he had to figure out how to walk, and it was hard to breathe, and don't even think about coughing. It was really tough. All that to say, he is doing so much better now, eons better now. I went home. I saw him 2 weeks ago. I went and filmed a special in Chicago, which you guys, I'm so excited for you to see this special. Okay. OnlyFans shot a special, and it's going to be available, I think in the beginning of December, maybe middle of December. I'm going to be throwing it up on my YouTube. So please keep an eye out for the special. I had so much fun filming it. It was just such a special experience. My dad was there. My sister was there. My boyfriend was there. My best friends all flew in. Claudia flew in. Kenny flew in. Like, I had so many people fly in to support me and show me love, and it just felt really special. And I'm actually so excited for you guys to see this one. So that will be coming out. Stay tuned on that. But yeah, after that, so my dad came out. The special's called Sorry Dad. I brought him on stage. I did this whole thing with him afterwards. It was really, really nice. And I had a really good time making the special. I don't know what else to say about it. So you guys, some of you know how much I fucking hated the last one, but this one I really had fun with. But yeah, so after we shot that special in Chicago, the Brewers were playing the Cubs, Game 5, playoff game, and I got my dad tickets. My dad's a huge baseball fan. I got us all tickets. I looked at the Brewers roster because I was like, I don't want to pay for tickets. But randomly, this guy that I used to talk to in college, he used to play for the Brewers. He's now one of the coaches, and he's like an old homie. And I just hit him up on Instagram. I was like, I don't even know if you're going to remember me. He's like, Brittany Talkin Schmitt, of course I remember you. He left us tickets. It was such a special night. I will say, Mr. Manhattan got introduced to tailgating, Wisconsin tailgating, and my God, did he get fucking his ass handed to him. For those of you who don't know, we really waterboard people with beer and brats and cheeseburgers and small talk. And he pretty much got bullied into drinking. They were, we were walking from the car to Miller Park, and it's American Family Field now. It used to be Miller Park. And they're like, you need 2 beers for the walk? And he's like, 2. And they're like, you got to take at least 1. Otherwise we're going to have some questions. And I'm like, you guys are actual bullies. And I'm like, literally our state bird is a drunk driver. So that's the Wisconsin way, baby. But yeah, we did a Brewers tailgate, and then I had already bought us Packers tickets. So we went to the Packers game the next day, and that was a lot because it took us 2 hours to get out of the Brewers game. We had to wake up early, drive 2 hours to go to the Packers game, tailgate, go in, watch the Packers. I mean, poor Mr. Manhattan. By the time we were at the Packers game, he was just sitting there with a vacant look in his eyes. I bought a cheese head to put on. He didn't like that. And just vacant, dead behind the eyes, sitting when everyone else around us is standing. So he couldn't see anything except for the Cleveland. I think they were playing the Browns. I think it was the Cleveland Browns. Just the fans of the Cleveland Browns asses. That's what he was staring at. And I'm like, hey, man. I was like, would you feel a little less stressed if we went in the family bathroom and fucked? And he's like, I do not have the capacity. I do not have the emotional bandwidth to fuck you in a cheesehead in the family bathroom right now. And I'm like, pussy. But you know who was drinking and having a good time? Good old Charlie Schmitt. Pops was dog walking the 27-year-old. And, he's having the time of his life. And he's like, you Britter. He's like, I got a new heart. Got to wear this puppy in. And I was like, I don't think that's how it works at all. And he's like, my heart, my rules. And that was that, you guys. I mean, that was kind of a crazy, quick recap on the summer and what's been going on since I've been off the microphone. I have missed you guys so much. Listen, I know it's like I said earlier, it's going to be a smaller party. Sorry if this was a little weird. First times are awkward. And I just was like, just hit you guys with every single feeling I've felt since we last spoke. But I am so excited to get back on the road and meet more of you on the road. Once again, I'll be in Denver on December 7th. Did I say December 8th in the beginning of the show? I'm going to be there December 7th. Nothing matters. We're all going to die. And I will start giving you guys prompts. If you want to just DM me on Instagram in the meantime, I want confessionals. I want things you don't want to tell anyone. I want things you need help working through. I want anything you want some bad advice on. I'm just going to do a confessional corner moving forward. That's going to be everything kind of wrapped into one. We're going to do a few more stories. It's not all going to be about my personal life. This time just was because I felt like I owed you guys an explanation for everything that's been going on and just a little catch up. I feel like we're all pals here. I wanted to kiki a little bit. So I'm so happy to be here. Go follow Talkin Schmitt on Instagram. And if you haven't already, please follow, like, subscribe to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. I love you so much, besties, and I will see you next week.